if they don't want to riot, they won't move this match. That's how big this young lady has become in a very short span of time, that being 2 days. And there are positives to that, but there could possibly be negatives also.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of pressure very quickly on CiCi Bellis. 15 years old from Atherton, California. There you look at her career record. It's pretty sparse. Her junior record is full, but her pro record is just about one. And actually, she has played a couple of ITF tournaments and a couple of local tournaments. And there is Zarina Diyas from Kazakhstan. She's actually the second-ranked player from the Asia-Pacific region behind Karumi Nara.
Yeah, so and I was thinking about this. Had Diyas at 20 years old been an American and done at Wimbledon, which she did, pretty much came out of nowhere and got to the round of 16, there would have been, the whole world would have known her. So everything is relative, and Diyas has done extremely well within the last year. She was ranked about 200 a year ago, and now she's in the top 50.
Hey, Elise, let me ask you something. Who's got more pressure tonight? Does this young lady, Diyas, have more pressure because she knows that there isn't a single person in this stadium who's cheering for her?
I think the pressure's even. I would say it's 50-50 because Diyas is still expected to win. She's the player of record, the player that's in the top 50 in the world. But Bellis is now feeling maybe, I don't know what she's feeling, but in terms of expectation, a lot of people are thinking that this is a match she can win.
Well, she went into her first match against Cibulkova saying, I'm just going to go out there with no pressure and to have fun. And she played that way throughout the entire match. I watched most of that match. And she played with a poise and a tenacity that I had not seen. So here we go. Diyas, first ball up. I'm sorry, they're still taking serves.
It was her first ball was up, but it didn't count yet. And what's happening is that they're taking their serves, and interestingly, Bellis is there trying to get a feel of the Diyas serve and trying to hit a couple returns. I know that the majority of tennis players never let a soul touch their serve during the warm-up, but both these players are feeling the other one out and trying to see what the serve is like. But
you see a gorgeous night here.
Yep. And Cindy, you talked about the junior record of Bellis and that it's full. And I look at that junior record, and maybe having so many years ago gone through American junior tennis, and I know what these events are. And she won the 18 Nationals. She's won the Easter Bowl. She's won some huge events this year. She's only 15, but I look at a player who does that in the juniors and is so consistent, and you know that they're ready to take a next step. What that next step is remains to be seen, but it is a next step.
Well, she plays a much bigger game than a typical 15-year-old. She's so slight. I saw her in the lounge for players the other day, and I thought, well, who's this 7-year-old? And she was all dressed and ready to play.
Round match, best of 3 tiebreak sets. Catherine Bellis won.
But she reminds me a little bit of Daniela Hantuchova in her graceful manner, her poise, her posture. And her parents, Lori and Gordon, literally taught her how to have good posture. They very strict values for their kids. I think my favorite thing about them is that they make sure that their daughter, CiCi, Catherine Carton Bellis, nicknamed CiCi, writes thank you notes.
Yes,
I love that.
And that's what someone was saying. She writes, you know what she does that no other kids do? She writes thank you notes, and she's an only child, and it's gotten a lot of attention, and grew up with a court in her backyard, and even with all the advantages, it doesn't matter if you don't love the game. This kid loves the game, and I think we're going to get a sense of that as we watch her play right now. There's a passion to the way she goes about her tennis.
Biggest crowd she's ever played for right here on court 17.
Zarina Diyas to serve.
It is an evening match. Diyas to serve.
Love.
And in watching Diyas, you're going to see that she's got a little bit of a herky-jerky motion on her serve. It's not a smooth delivery, and in my mind, it's a vulnerable serve.
We'll see if Bellis can capitalize on that.
You know that they've scouted it. Whether they've seen her play in person, they've watched her on the computer, on YouTube. You know, today things are different today. You can scout out an opponent many different ways. And the double fault there.
She got a very fast start against Cibulkova. In fact, won that first set 6-1. I think there's some nerves going on right now. Life has changed forever for CiCi Bellis.
Yeah, and you're here on court 17, and you're playing under the lights, and the court is packed. And they're all here to see you. Well, that's just beautiful striking of the ball by Diyas. Worked the point, and for Diyas, when the second she saw Bellis go to that slice backhand was an indicator that she was out of position, and Diyas took advantage.
Game, Diyas. First game.
So a couple of misfired ground strokes from Bellis. She's definitely looking around, soaking in the atmosphere. It's going to take her a little bit of time to get her sea legs out here.
Well, absolutely, and you're playing a much different opponent in Diyas than you played in Cibulkova, and it's making that adjustment to a different opponent and different conditions, playing at night. Ball flies a little bit more.
Catherine Bellis to serve. Love 15.
And you said sea legs, Cindy, and really it is legs. It's getting, you know, a little bit of nerves. It's all about positioning and getting set.
She's definitely nervous. You see her taking those deep breaths, trying to compose herself. That's just a great shot from Diyas.
Well, anything that sits up to that forehand of Diyas, she is rock solid off that side. And you look at her results this year; they didn't come out of nowhere. They were backed up by some very good, solid tennis.
Out. Love 40.
So 3 quick break opportunities.
Game, Diyas.
Well, that's just punishing a second serve that sits up, and
Diyas leads 2
Diyas not messing around. It's a little windy, it's a little swirly, and the side that Diyas is now serving from, she's got the wind with her a little bit. So for Bellis, she's against the wind. It's not major wind, but it's just enough on this kind of bowl of a court. It's sunken. It's beautiful, but it swirls a little.
Now that's the shot shot that Bellis used against Cibulkova. That, unfortunately, at least is just her second point of this match.
But that sends a message. That's a huge forehand. And that sends a message across the net that I'm going to be in this one.
She's just got to relax a little bit. She had a big support system against Cibulkova. Her friends cheering her on. At one point, they started a chant, a CiCi chant, and that got her all pumped up. They were tweeting messages that said, "Take down Cibulkova." It was all very tweenish.
In a rally like that, where they're just going toe to toe, and you know, she's playing someone 5 years older than she is, and she's just got to get used to the pace. Even though Cibulkova gives you a lot of pace, it's a different player, and it's a whole different ball game, different situation. And from everything I know about Bellis, she's going to stick to her guns. She's going to play the tennis that she plays and let the chips fall where they may. And it'll be interesting to see as the match progresses whether there might be any kind of plan B if you can't out-hit your opponent. But the way she's used to winning is out-hitting her opponents. And you talked about the crowd the other day behind her. Well, this crowd here tonight is going to be itching. They're going to be itching. All she has to do is give them a sign, and they'll be right behind her.
And if that sign could be right here, if she can break Diyas, she's got a chance. Turn of events. She dropped just 1 point coming into this third game, but now Diyas has had her serve broken. Bellis back on serve at 1-2. Center, and a day match has turned into a night one. CiCi Bellis, Atherton, California, ranked number 1,208 in the world, taking on Zarina Diyas, 1208. That's going up after this tournament.
Love 15.
And so now for Bellis, she just got that break of serve. The one thing she just got her teeth into the set. The one thing you don't want to do is just give her any freebies right away like she did this last point. Make Diyas work for her points.
I thought she was going to go for a drop shot there.
she's going to that slice backhand because she's feeling the weight of the Diyas shots. These two are going toe to toe, both hit very flat, and something's got to give in each one of these points.
Caught a break there because she left the side of the court open. So at least the big question is Lori Bellis in the stands? She was so nervous the other day that she stayed back at the hotel, got text updates from her husband, Gordon.
I know, I remember from my own experiences as the player, you're much happier when you've got a nervous parent. You're much happier if you know where they are, and if she just be one place or the other. Let me know that you're at the hotel, and then I'm okay. Or if you're going to be here, you've got to stay at the match. You can't wander in and out. You've got to stay the whole time.
Gordon Bellis was so funny the other day. He was asked, you know, what do you do? Can you cheer? He said, I have to stay silent. I can't even sigh.
Because she hears it.
Right. She is really a teenager.
But that's true. It just harkens back.
To do that. I saw her going for the line.
Well, it was some big time hitting that point, and then that point turned into positioning. And the longer it went, the further back in the court Bellis was. And it was Diyas who got more control of that point.
Game, Diyas.
Now another break of serve.
3-1, first set.
So just after she broke back, she is yet broken again. Bellis' parents over the last couple of days have tried very hard to shield her, to help her take it in stride. They don't want her to get overexcited. They don't want her doing talk shows. She said if she did get to do one show, it would be the Ellen DeGeneres show. But they're just trying to tell her to be calm. Go about your routine. Do what you've always done. That's the shot she tried in the last point.
Well, it's so difficult to do what you just said, to just go about your business when you're 15 and you've done what you've done and you started getting the attention that you got. That point, she gave herself more margin of error and she got down beautifully on that backhand. It's all about how much margin you give yourself. You don't have to thread the line with that backhand. Give yourself a couple of feet, what I call the filler zones. The filler zones are a couple of feet to the side of the sideline. And right now, the issue is you got two players that hit hard and flat, but one is hitting much more consistently, and it's Diyas who's hitting more consistently now. And Bellis is either going to have to stick with what she's doing and hope that things turn around, or go to a plan B a little bit and maybe throw in a little change up, some loopy balls, try to get Diyas out of this wonderful rhythm she's in right now. Well, that was a loopy ball, but it flew. And when you're with the wind, which Bellis is, that ball is going to fly just that little bit.
Diyas trains and for the most part lives these days in China.
Yep.
Working with Andy Ma. was a much better point from Bellis.
And it was a changeup. She threw in the slice backhand, gave Diyas a different look, and then went right back to it and pummeled the two-hander. It was good thinking and good execution.
Diyas' last service game, broken at 30.
We've had 3 breaks in a row. Why not a 4th?
That was her second double fault. And it can't be easy to be Zarina Diyas out on court 17 tonight, knowing that this entire crowd is cheering against you.
Time.
This may be the most enchanting match of this year's U.S. Open. CiCi Bellis, during the changeover, when the fans started cheering for her, she just cracked up, put a big grin on her face, and then grabbed the towel and covered her mouth because she realized she better get back into it. And then, chair umpire telling CiCi we're going to slow things down a little bit. She just wanted to jump right out of her chair.
Love 15.
I have to say that was an absolute priceless moment when that crowd just started chanting, and the way that they were doing it, CiCi, CiCi, and then that huge grin on her face. You remember very quickly she's only 15.
That's a great shot. You hear the scream from Bellis. Well, Elise, you remember as well as I do. Can anyone say Jennifer Capriati? When Capriati was 14 and burst onto the scene, there were more grins on her face than any Jekyll could make.
Well, there's one thing as you watch this match and you watch these last couple of games. If you're Bellis, you've got to know that the Diyas serve is going to be vulnerable the whole match. She doesn't have a big serve, so you're always going to be in it because she's vulnerable and you can break. It's how do you figure out how to hold your own serve?
I was going to say, isn't her serve a bit vulnerable too? That was 96 miles an hour long. What would you tell her to do? Would you just tell her to slow down and calm down?
It's easier said than done, but at this point, I would say you take your time before that first serve, take a little off like she did right there, and get yourself into these points. And I would tell her, you keep working on your depth. She hits such a gorgeous ball, Bellis. I mean, they both hit a very solid ball, but Bellis's forehand, you can just see, can be very dangerous if she gets that opportunity. And the depth, which we saw right there, with which she had Diyas behind the baseline, that's going to win her a lot of points.
Choose.
Completely compromised in the point was Bellis. And she comes up with a sneaky little backhand drop shot. Look, she was almost tripping over herself.
Well, it was the wind. It was a gust of wind kind of blew up, but that she made
Advantage, Bellis.
the adjustment and then had the sense about her to go for that drop shot there was just wonderful. The presence of mind, and there you just say that's too good, and you in your little computer you say can't sit up a serve to that forehand, gotta maybe jam her a little more, but anything that sits up, she's going to pounce on the forehand, Diyas.
Suddenly another break point. If she weren't here tonight, she would probably be at the Stanford Mall, Palo Alto, not far from her home in Atherton, California.
I love that she said that's where she likes to hang out. I used to like hanging out there too.
That's just because you went to Stanford.
Well, I'm just saying it's just a great place. But I had to bike there from the dorm room. It was worth it.
Advantage, Diyas.
Now, we didn't see this the other day against Cibulkova. She wasn't quite so demonstrative, not talking to herself like that.
Best point of this match so far, because you could see Bellis thinking throughout. She mixed things up. She threw in a couple of high balls. She waited for her opportunity. Just such a heady point. 19 exchanges.
She said she loves the crowd. The more the merrier, the more cheering the merrier.
Advantage, Bellis.
single.
Yes.
2 balls there in that point at least. Really on the line. Could have gone either way.
She knew there was an opportunity, but so it's not one opportunity lost. It's how do you react? Here she is right back up at the line. And she'll take a freebie like that anytime. That second serve sat up. It was just what Diyas was looking for. But she's starting to feel it. She got out to the early lead, and now she's coming to recognize that Bellis is a force to be reckoned with out here.
So looky here, suddenly we are at 3-all. Elise will be happy to know that CiCi has not turned pro. She is leaving her options open. Maybe she will end up at Stanford one day. She turned down the first round prize money of $60,000. Her father deadpanned. Well, if she gets to the final, then we'll talk. That's $3 million.
Now, in the old days, you had to declare before the tournament.
You still
Has
do.
something changed?
No.
Lucky day.
I had a round of 16 as an amateur here, but guess what? It wasn't even. I don't think that would have been even 10.
$10? Pretty close. Good placement by Diyas. And by the way, I seem to recall that I was there for that amateur run, and you asked me whether you should turn pro, and I said absolutely not.
See, that was the next year.
Oh.
So you're getting your years all confused.
Oh.
It was that next year when the things you were very encouraging to say you go back for that senior year.
Yeah.
It was the right move.
I'm not sure we could convince CiCi Bellis to do that.
Well, today you're not given much of an option with the money in the game today.
Diyas is challenging the call on the right serve. The ball was called out.
That's her third double fault, assuming it stands. It does.
15-30. Diyas has 2 challenges remaining.
She pops up a little bit on that forehand. Her parents literally have to pull her off the court every 2 weeks because she wants to be out there so much to practice.
Well, that's several feet behind the baseline, and it's just making the decision of what shot do I go for. And that was trying to really thread the needle down the line. That was a very tough shot to try to make. So much of tennis is about decision making. So
Diyas does hold on. A lot of breaks to serve. That was a key hold for Zarina Diyas. She's up 4-3 out on court 17 at the U.S. Open. Second round match. Diyas leading Bellis.
Time.
Back in the day, we saw a lot of 15-year-olds out on this court. We saw Andrea Jaeger, we saw Jennifer Capriati, we saw Monica Seles, we saw Tracy Austin, but now the average age of women on the WTA Tour is in the mid to late 20s, except for CiCi Bellis, 15 years old. CiCi was granted a wild card into this U.S. Open, as is customary, given to the winner of the USTA National 18 Championships. She beat Tornado Alicia Black in the final. Right on the line. And Black last year won the juniors here.
Yeah. So look, we've got such a group of young American players who are going to push each other over the next 10 or 15 years. It's very exciting.
Love 40.
And as Bellis serves at love 40, it seems to me that she's got a family. They've got their heads on their shoulders, Bellis, and they're going to keep this all in perspective and understand that it's a moment, but as a professional, you want lots of moments.
So suddenly a very quick love break of serve, and Diyas is now serving for the first set. Bellis still plans to play the juniors. She'll go home. She'll continue to train. Plays at the USTA Training Center in Carson, California, and then the family brings in hitting partners from the University of California, from Stanford, former collegiate players.
Well, I think for them, they've had a decision to make, because there is a wonderful training center in Carson, but that's Southern California. They live in Northern Cal, and her parents want her to be home still. It wasn't a bad idea. It was just poor execution from Bellis, and that was feeling the weight of the Diyas groundies. And if you're Bellis, you're down 3-5, and when your opponent's serving for the set, you want to make her at least work. You don't want to give her free points, and that's what she did just there. Got to make her work for it.
You just heard, oh my God. that ball sat up, and Bellis knew just what to do with it. Same thing her idol, Kim Clijsters, would have done with it. Pummel it.
40-15.
Well, she played this point beautifully, but still, 2 more set points for Diyas.
Kim Clijsters left her a voicemail and sent her a text message
That's just
after her first
awesome.
round. Bellis saying, it's crazy to think I'm actually here right now with all these people. I mean, I never thought I'd be practicing or sharing a court with, you know, a player I watch on TV.
That's the 15-year-old in her. That return just there was a mature tennis player. 1 more set point for Diyas.
So the first set is in the books, 36 minutes, and Zarina Diyas taking a look at this crowd and saying, I don't want to upset you, but too bad, I'm here to win.
Time.
Welcome back to a second round match on court 17 at the U.S. Open.
Quickly, please. Thank you.
15-year-old CiCi Bellis ranked 1,208 in the world,
Bellis to serve.
taking on number 48, Zarina Diyas from Kazakhstan. Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Schmerler with Elise Bergen, and we are welcoming our Canadian audience watching on TSN. Diyas won the first set 6-3 in 36 minutes, but Bellis isn't going anywhere, Elise.
I love her reaction after playing a very good first point to open this second set up. But figuring out a way to take care of her serve is going to be critical to this second set. And of course, she's only 15, and she's still physically, she's still developing. And the service motion is not a bad motion. She just doesn't have a ton of pop on it yet, and that serve's going to get better. But for now, I would say making sure she just gets the first serve in, as opposed to having to rely on a second serve like she's going to now, where she's got an opponent who just can hit that second serve with authority.
Interesting, though, in her first round match against Cibulkova, that wide forehand, sort of that squash shot, just trying to stab at it, was very effective. Here tonight, it's not been so workmanlike for her.
When you go to that shot when you're in scrambling mode, when you're just trying to stay in the point.
how different is it for her playing under these lights? She's got to have played some junior matches at night, but certainly her first round match was during the day.
It's more the wind. It's more the conditions are different. And a couple of planes are flying over. We don't hear that anymore too often over Flushing.
Bellis is charged up, and so is this crowd. One love, second set.
And a couple people, look at the reaction after she hits this backhand, and love the way she moved forward. And now the reaction and the crowd getting pumped behind her. A couple people out of their seat after that one.
You see the grounds, those quiet courts, Elisa, as you take a look at the set one summary.
You see actually the first serve percentage at 60 is not bad. It's just not enough on it, and I still feel like Bellis needed more first serves in. For Diyas, it's just a good set in terms of her ability to take control of more points than Bellis was able to. And I think for Bellis, giving Diyas 3 points off that return is a no-no. The Diyas serve just isn't effective enough. It's not putting you under any duress. You got to get that ball in play.
30.
Because there, after you play a great service game to open up, you get some momentum. Now you just give her 2 freebies right away.
That she can wear her down. That Bellis can wear Diyas down.
30-15.
It'll be interesting. You know, you look at Diyas's results from this year, and they don't necessarily say that she's ripe for the taking in that department, that she's going to be worn down. But that remains to be seen. But what I do like, I like what I'm seeing out of Bellis coming out after a big win, and she's still very dialed in.
That one's long. We mentioned this time last year, Diyas was ranked 196 in the world. She's jumped up some 148 ranking positions. Beginning of this year, her first major qualifier at the Australian Open.
I mean, think about that. She was in qualifying to start the year at the majors, and then plays so well in Australia, and then we saw what she does at Wimbledon.
Yeah, round of 16. Sweet play there by Bellis. Diyas at Wimbledon beat number 15, Carlos Suarez Navarro, former Wimbledon finalist Vera Zvonareva.
At that point, it was a terrific second serve from Diyas, and Bellis just punished it and then followed it in with a volley, showing she's got versatility.
I keep thinking, Elise, that Diyas gets one more ball back than everybody she's ever played in the juniors. That she keeps looking over saying, hey, you know, in the Easter Bowl, they didn't get that ball back.
Tornado didn't get that one back.
I wasn't even thinking about Tornado. She's a pretty good player,
Yeah,
but in the first round at the Easter Bowl, they didn't.
Advantage Diyas.
But then she makes a rookie mistake like that. Wow, there was some serious heat on that inside-out forehand.
That gives you a glimpse. It gives you a glimpse now, but it certainly gives a glimpse into the future of how big that forehand's going to be. That was high heat.
Suddenly, a break point that would put her up 2-love in the second.
I can't tell you how important this point is for Bellis, because if she wins it, this crowd is going to go nuts.
And not for nothing, there is a match going on over on Arthur Ashe Stadium, even though these fans don't seem to have any idea what's happening. Andy Murray is up 2 sets. I'll tell you what, though, you got to give some credit to Diyas. She's got staying power.
Thank you. Thank you.
And she knows it because you can hear her. You can hear her exclamations after she misses a return like that. She's missed a couple of returns this game that she knows she's got to make. It's windy. You got to make those adjustments, especially with the feet.
Oh, look, she thought she had it. Do you think it was wise to go for that mid-court swinging volley?
Well, I just think she did everything right that point. It just was a shame. She was right there for the volley. It wasn't even a bad volley, just didn't quite get it. I think that's what we see from players today, that this swing volley is what we see. And she was hitting some heavy groundies at that point. Was see the wind catching that toss. Bellis has got to be looking to go after this return.
Whoa! CiCi Bellis at the net twice in one game.
Well, I love that she didn't shy away. Yes, she missed a volley the point before, but she had done everything right. And there, she got the volley where she wanted, on top of the net. And she is just striking the ball big right now.
Diyas making a lot of stabs and getting an awful lot of balls back.
Advantage Diyas.
She almost got caught at the net.
Well, it's just a fascinating game. This game is turned so interesting because you have Bellis, who's in control of the game, but she's missed probably 4 returns of serve, but then played so many magnificent points in between. Wonderful scrambling there from CiCi Bellis. She's with the wind right now, and she knows it. She can scramble and stay in these points. Listen to this crowd.
She needs to tune them out. 3rd break point. Diyas is challenging it.
It's going nowhere. If she challenges it, it'll go nowhere. And that double fault, and she didn't challenge it, that double fault came out of the pressure. The previous ad point when Diyas just went for that second serve return and really punished it. She had that in her mind, Diyas. Diyas remembered that Bellis just went for it and felt the pressure, double faulted, and here we are. Big break.
That's funny. That's what you do in the juniors when you don't have a chair umpire and line judges. You put your finger up to say the ball was out. It was Diyas who did that. She's not that far removed from the juniors.
No.
Every once in a while, Diyas pulls back off the ball, and we get a very meek forehand into the net.
And a lot of that is, it's the moment. It's a little bit of nerves right now. She's feeling it, wins that first set, but now under this pressure. As we say that in unison, but you know what? You don't criticize that. It's doing the right thing. It's being aggressive. She's with the wind. She's putting Diyas in a defensive position, and she just missed it. So what?
So what? 2 break points. Saved one.
I understand. Yes. So what? 2 break. I'm saying, you know, this is what.
This is all just a learning experience.
Well, no, but they're good errors and they're bad. I don't care who you are in a match. They're good errors and they're bad errors. If you make an error doing the right thing, it's okay.
Bellis so much the aggressor in this match. And Diyas so defensive.
Well, as this match has progressed, we are seeing that Bellis can repeat and repeat and repeat on these ground strokes. She is well taught. Watching her ground these, it just reminds me of a Tracy Austin who just could hit that same shot over and over and over again. Tracy hit flat. Of course, it's a different era, not as hard, but I just see similarities. And for Bellis, it's just that ability to hit that same shot over and over again.
Cheers.
That one got over anxious.
That is just a monster forehand from CiCi Bellis.
This is a spectacular point, and this was the point I was making. Are your shots repeatable? Is your technique? Can you hit it over and over again? And she has wonderful technique, and it's technique that will hold up under pressure. And not so bad from Diyas there, and she needed that. You need to quiet the crowd down. They're ready to erupt even more.
Deal is, though, Elise, she feeds off this crowd. She said she absolutely loves it. The more cheering, the better.
Advantage, Bellis.
Very different from a Mary Jo Fernandez, who was very quiet and shy when she broke out at 14.
Well, that's some big hitting from Diyas, and she's against the wind and just went full tilt on that forehand.
She's stepping out of the box for just a second. Holy cow. Hit it a little harder.
And that was a little tricky. That short ball was tricky. She handled it beautifully.
I thought she was going to go for the drop shot.
Well, when you got the wind behind you, pushing it deep in the court makes more sense.
And a hold of serve for Bellis, a 3-love lead. She is well in control. Who's out of control? This crowd here on court 17 at the U.S. Open. Before she played Dominika Cibulkova, CiCi Bellis was told by her coach, Leonardo Acevedo, you've got to believe. If you believe, one of two things can happen. You either win or you lose. If you don't believe, you can only lose.
And that is so true. Any tennis player who's ever gone, if you've ever gone into a match not thinking you could win it, you're not going to win it.
Set that one up.
I'm sorry, it's the coach in me coming out. Once again, it's just the right play. It's the right thing. That's what you just turn around and you go play the next point and don't shy away from coming back in again. She's just missed a couple of those, but done the right thing.
Very much a work in progress is CiCi Bellis.
She's just gotten better and better as this match has gone on, and early on, the weight of Diyas's ball might have affected her a little bit, but she's so used to it now, and she is taking control.
Well, very different demeanor on that last changeover. She wasn't looking up. She wasn't grinning. She took her time. She didn't get up until the chair umpire said time.
Well, you know, it's interesting. The thing with the chair umpire telling time, she's never had to deal with television, and Leanne White is telling them, you know, television is dictating a little bit that you got to wait.
Sixth double fault for Diyas. There was no TV on court 6 the other day. They brought in cameras when they saw that she was in possibility of winning. Oh, she was about to hit that, realized it could be wide, and it was.
Yeah, the wind took it out, and good eye from Diyas there. And if you're Diyas, if you're on the other side of the court, you just got to take your time and, you know, hope that this youngster, that Bellis, cools down a little bit, and that she starts missing a little more, because she is dialed in at the moment. And if you're Diyas, you recognize, okay, I'm down love 3, but I'm also with the win now. So these are 2 games that favor me right here on this side.
Well, and I'm also up a set.
Well, that's
so
true,
if you're
too.
Diyas.
Good point.
All the conditions are so completely different from that match against Cibulkova. Day versus night. The heat was much stronger the other day. The wind is much stronger today. That one's out.
Sometimes you just go for too much. You don't have to make it that good. Diyas tried to make it too good, and she paid the price, and now she's facing a break point. You could tell how much Bellis wanted that.
Cheers. Next for serve.
It's just too good for Diyas.
Well, beautifully done. And stayed calm, and that's what she needs to do at this point. She's got to hold serve this game, really, to stay in this set. You don't want to go down 4-love. At 3-1, you're still in the set. 4-love, a whole different ball game.
Doing a lot of stabbing now, please. Which tells me that her footwork isn't as good as it was, or her stamina may not be as good.
Well, I think I'm going to give a lot of credit to what's coming off the racket of Bellis. I mean, Bellis has just gotten better and better as this match is going on, and her weight of shot, for not being a big kid, I mean, she is tiny in terms of weight. I mean, there's not a lot to her, and her timing is remarkable.
Advantage Diyas.
th point of this game.
And we said from the get-go that the Diyas serve is vulnerable because it's just not a great serve. You're going to get it. You're going to get a play on her first serve. You're going to get clearly a play on her second serve, but you also get a play on her first serve, and that puts pressure on you. And now Bellis is recognizing that.
That's pretty well constructed point for Diyas. And it is very blustery and gusty out here. It's downright chilly tonight.
With what we dealt with for a few days, you're absolutely right. Well, what's impressing me from Bellis now is this game she's playing against the wind. I mean, she is just hitting through it. And if you recall the game before, when they were on the other sides, Bellis controlled every point. Diyas really was on the defensive. That Bellis is getting on the offensive when she's against the wind is impressive.
She knew that was spraying long. Fifth game point for Diyas. Who needs this game more?
Oh, Diyas needs it. No doubt about it, with the score line. And because if Bellis doesn't win this game, I don't see her getting down. That's not in her makeup right now.
And this is her second break point. Listen to this. She's got to really look at her face. She heard it. The crowd, somebody started chanting, trying to invoke a cheer for her, and she started to laugh. She's having the time of her life.
And it's just got a little better.
You got to see these courtside fans. They're out of their seats. At least Mary Jo Fernandez, who won her first match here when she was just 14 years old, said that when she turned pro, the great Virginia Wade, former Wimbledon champion, told her, don't ever read anything that's written about you. She said, if it's bad, it's going to upset you. If it's good, it's going to go to your head. There's nothing good that can come out of it. Of course, I'm reading this, and I write about all of them.
Funny.
But she said that was the best advice she ever got, and it's the advice she would give to CiCi Bellis right now. She said, just think about improving for the next match.
What about the bad? If it's bad, what? Tell me that again.
If it's bad, it's going to upset you, and if it's good, it's going to go to your head.
It's great.
She said, when you retire, you can go back and see what everybody said about you.
15.
That, of course, would put me out of a job.
Oh, you'll always find something.
And Bellis is finding plenty right now. She's up 4-love and 30-15. Boy, she's getting some help from Diyas right now. You're right, the heft of her shot.
40-15.
Now a chance for a 5-love lead. And she does it. CiCi Bellis is 1 game away from evening this match. It's a second rounder, and the crowd is on its feet.
Time.
CiCi Bellis says she'd like to be a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Well, welcome to the CiCi Bellis show. Out here on court 17 at the U.S. Open. I'm Cindy Schmirler alongside Elise Bergen. And now Zarina Diyas serving to stay in this second set. Bellis cannot contain her grins. The changeover, the crowd started to chant, "Let's go, CiCi," and she broke out into yet another Cheshire Cat grin. And right now, she's 3 points from evening this match.
Love 15.
Amazing how she has just taken this joint over, not just the match, not just the set, this whole place.
15.
She now's got this crowd right where she wanted them from the get-go, in the palm of her hand. But you don't get them in the palm of your hand unless you're doing something right. And she is just playing lights out at the moment.
Look at that forehand return. Stepping inside the court, completely taking command.
15-30.
And look where she is. And we've just been watching as this match has progressed. that she is just able to repeat, repeat, repeat.
Double break point, double set point. And we are dead even out here on court 17 at the U.S. Open. This crowd's been waiting for hours to see CiCi Bellis, and they are in for a show. Third set coming up.
Time.
This is not your average junior tennis match. In fact, it's not the juniors at all. It's the big time. And CiCi Bellis has just evened up this second round match with Zarina Diyas with an emphatic 6-love second set take.
Coming up is a very important game for both players. For Bellis, she wins 6 consecutive games. You're on such a high, such a roll. You've got to keep it going. If you're Diyas, you've got to stop the bleeding. You got to think back to that first set when you really did play well, when you controlled things early in the match.
because these players reacted completely differently during that last changeover. Diyas left the court, changed her clothes, took a restroom break, gathered herself. Bellis sitting on the court side, so we see up, it's in.
He did the challenge, and Diyas on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah. But Bellis during that changeover is looking over at her parents, at her coach, at her friends. She asked for some chocolate. She asked for a soda. Finally, Leanne White in the chair said, "Do you need something?"
30-15.
It just has amazed me how this match, how it's worn on, and how Bellis has just completely taken control. At the beginning of this match, I really felt that it was the weight of shot of Diyas that was affecting Bellis as she came out a little nervous. Now it's just the weight of shot of Bellis that's having the impact on Diyas, and Diyas has got to figure out a little bit of a plan B here.
Well, she beat Cibulkova in 3 sets, and she was down a break in that third. But the last thing she wants is to get down a break early here, and now she's facing a break point.
The beginning of a final set is so important.
Saves one there.
They used the wind very well. Had a little bit more on it. Almost had a little bit of kick on that second serve.
Bellis hesitated there, Elise.
And her opponent recognized it. Diyas recognized it. Look where Bellis was. She was so far behind that baseline, and Diyas knew it. Smart drop shot. Hadn't seen one yet, but the timing was impeccable.
Well, she is not hesitating one bit.
She just turns around. All right, a little bit of disappointment, lost that last point. She just turns around right to the next point.
Court falls back. Went right behind her, and this is what CiCi Bellis did against Cibulkova. The crowd is loving it. Huge monster swing volley.
Well, this is just tremendous from Bellis, and she's just getting better and better as this match goes on, and her serve has gotten better. And look at the second set summary, 71% first serve percentage, and they were pretty good first serves. It's not so much your percentage, but what were you doing behind it? They were pretty big, and just overall, this kid has just got something a little bit special, and we've seen this, we've seen it before, and you don't want to get too excited. And it's just one tournament, it's just a match and a half so far, but
That's right on the line.
There is no doubt that she's got game.
Well, Diyas is trying everything in her power just to quell the crowd. And she's really comported herself so well. It would have been so easy for her to get frustrated, for her to be snarking at the crowd. She's just playing her game. She knows better.
Love.
Here, Bellis, she's talking to herself. She went down a break early in the third set against Cibulkova. In fact, was down 3-1. Fought her way back.
It's just interesting hearing this crowd. American crowds really haven't been able to do this that much.
Yeah.
Over, you know, for a lot of young players coming up, and they're just chomping at the bit here to get behind one of their own.
You know what I like about that point? She didn't put it away on that first swinging volley, and she knew it. So she just stayed there, held her ground, and finished it off with the second one.
Watch, she just kept moving in, but didn't do too much with the volley. But it was great. It was the recognition of when to come in. She came in at the perfect time during that point. That's a good game from Diyas. She needed it desperately. She's with the win, and finally she can breathe a little bit. And you need that. She can just take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm in it.
Well, there were 7 straight games for Bellis, but now I want to see how Bellis handles herself here, because she was on a huge run.
Love 15.
You know, I think she thought that at that point Diyas was just going to roll over. Welcome to the big leagues. That doesn't happen.
And this is all part of it. You've got to expect. Yeah, it's getting a little frustrated. You've got to expect that number 43 in the world, or who's in that area, is not going to completely go away.
Well, and not only that, for the first time, we're hearing Diyas say, come on. That's 2 points in a row that she exhorted herself.
Love 40.
Now 3 chances for Diyas to break serve.
Remember, she's serving against the wind now when they switch sides, and that was a bad miss.
She's too anxious. I like that play.
Well, she got away with it. You know what? The lob was good, but she got away. The drop shot wasn't a good play, and it wasn't well executed. She got away with it, and it kind of in her head right now. She muffled that first serve, hit it off the frame. She just got to take her time.
Diyas leads 2-1, final set.
So a break of serve, a crucial break. Diyas had lost 7 straight games, but she's won the big one. She's got to break a serve. very different demeanor
Please.
from Bellis during that last changeover. The crowd started to go, let's go CiCi, and she didn't want any part of it now. Game face is on. She's down a break. Diyas serving 2-1.
Very impressed with what we're seeing from Diyas right now, because she was being dictated to for a set and a couple games, but I'd say for about 30, 35, 40 minutes, she was being dictated to by Bellis, and she's just slowly just turned this around here, or I should say really quickly.
Yeah, she's silencing the crowd. She's taking them out of the match. Wow. Diyas was out of that point twice.
I've got to say, the drop shot just sends a signal that I'm a little unsure of myself right now. What got Bellis to the point of winning 7 consecutive games? She went for it. There was no hesitation.
You think she's tired?
40.
I think maybe a little mentally tired. I think physically she's pretty good, but you know, when you get in this game, the highs are very high within a match, the lows can be low, and her highs when she got going and had that crowd behind her were very high.
Well, Diyas has now won 12 of the last 14 points.
Diyas leads 3 games
Suddenly
to 1.
she's up 3-1. Remember, I said it a few minutes ago against Sibylkova. Bellis went down 3-1 in the third set as well. See if she can then pull it back.
Well, there's been a lull. I mean, as I said, the high was so high. She played at such a wonderful level for that period of time when she just cruised through that second set. And now she's got an opponent who's gotten herself back in, and now she's got to regroup Bellis. It's not out of reach, but this game is crucial right here. Both these players are very good off the ground. Diyas is very good off the ground. Bellis has got some real firepower.
You told her to knock it off with that behavior.
Well, I'm not a fan of the drop shot, especially when you're with the wind, and she's with the wind, and you can see what happened. Her next ball just flew. So that's experience. That's just knowing when to use shots, and she's rushing. Look how quickly she's up to this line here.
Well, that she's been doing throughout the match.
Yeah, but you got to recognize the score line. You're down 1-3. You just played a poor point. You made a bad decision with going for that drop shot. You got to regroup.
15-30.
And they're just, she pulled her exercising, pulling that quad of hers, and so you got to think that maybe Bellis is starting to physically feel it out here. A lot of emotion. And she, once again, she's just pulling that quad, and you got to remember that a match like this, Yes, you can play hours and hours and hours in practice, but you're never going to exert the emotional energy that you're exerting right out here.
Well, and remember one thing, the conditions are windy and they're chilly. And you've been through the ringer over the last few days.
30-40.
And now another chance for Diyas to take a commanding 4-1 lead.
Well, she didn't flinch away from that, and she got the big first serve. What Bellis has to look for is to use this forehand of hers. That forehand is a weapon, and getting the first serve in helped.
Diyas knows the value. Yeah, she knows the value of this game.
Advantage Bellis.
Yes, she certainly does.
Oh, she's trying to slow Bellis down.
And that's smart, because she's playing a young player who's playing on a lot of emotion.
Yes.
Completely different demeanor from Diyas. Say that 3 times fast.
Really. What a point from both. Back and forth, and the maturity that we're seeing from Diyas right now. She's only 20, but that little added experience is showing right now. Wonderfully executed.
Great point.
Bellis, break point, just going full tilt, and Diyas against the wind, just trying to defend.
That's a terrific play.
It's spectacular. It's just spectacular. And
Advantage Diyas.
you take your hat off to a point like that, and both of them just going at each other. And I think you can see, I think Bellis is starting to cramp some. I think she's feeling it and starting to cramp a little.
Big mistake by Bellis there. Gives the break, the crucial break, to Diyas. And she now will have to rebound from 1-4 down if she's going into the next round. to rally the troops in favor of CiCi Bellis, 15 years old. A wild card granted because she won the national 18 championships, and in her very first Grand Slam match, she took out the number 12 seed Dominika Cibulkova. Now she's taking on number 48 Zarina Diyas, and now she is in all kinds of trouble. Diyas up 2 breaks of serve, 4-1 in this third set.
Please.
The last game, Bellis was flexing her quads. In the middle of the one of the last points, looked like she might have been cramping just a little bit. This game, this is a do-or-die game for her.
15.
Again, she's playing an opponent, Diyas, who has weathered the crowd, weathered the storm of the huge hitting of CiCi Bellis. What Bellis brought in that second set. And getting frustrated, overhitting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much she truly believes right now.
Well, I don't know how much there's left in the tank.
Right.
And she needs a pick-me-up. She needs a couple big points.
Point for a 5-1 lead for Diyas.
And now this is a point right here from the perspective of Bellis. You just give this point everything you've got.
She's tired.
She's tired, and she's playing an opponent who refused to be worn down by the big hitting of Bellis and by the crowd, and who very adroitly seized control back of this match.
So now Bellis serving to stay in the match.
Love 15.
Well, that's a little spark there from Bellis.
15 all.
And if you're Bellis right now,
30-15.
obviously you're thinking, I want to win this game, but try to put a little pressure on your opponent. Make her serve it out.
Now 2 points from the match is Diyas. That will determine whether it's game point or match point. And boy, a game of inches, 40-30. A game of millimeters.
Centimeters, yep.
And there is life for CiCi Bellis. She's dug herself into a hole. Can she grab the shovel? Zarina Diyas will be serving for the match when we come back.
Ms. Diyas has one.
Kazakhstan has played a very composed, controlled match. Even when she lost the second set at Love, she will now have to weather not only an opponent, but this crowd that clearly wants the match to go on a little bit longer.
Well, the one thing that Bellis needed to do was take care of her serve. She did that. Now you just play 1 point at a time. You try to hone in. This is for both players, but for Bellis, you try to hone in. You're with the win. You're going to be able to press her a little bit. Each point, try to work that point on the serve. But it's what does she have left in her legs? And that was all about legs and not getting there and not getting in position and hitting short. Does she have one more big push in her? If that point's any indication, she does. It's can she get a hold of these points and use that forehand? She went for it. She was a little back in the court, but you just can't be critical. She went for it and just clipped the tape. And once again, terrific point. Both players.
Please, thank you.
you just get a glimpse of her face. She is 15.
40-15.
Double match point.
And Diyas takes a look to the sideline at her cap. Hit a great second serve.
Please.
Leanne White is trying to quell the crowd, but they're not going to be silenced.
Advantage Diyas.
Match point number 3.
And Diyas turning around, taking her time. Well, that's the crowd, and she was bouncing the ball, as is her right.
Zarina Diyas took the wind from the sails, not only of CiCi Bellis, but of this crowd, who became a second, third, and 5,000th opponent out here.
Well, no doubt about it, and take your hat off to Zarina Diyas. She played a very mature match. She weathered the storm, and the storm of CiCi Bellis is a terrific one. Huge upside to Bellis. Wonderful technique. Played a terrific second set, but it was the maturity of Diyas.
It's all a learning experience. It's all growth, and it's all good for CiCi Bellis. She'll be back, and so will we. We'll be back with more tennis tomorrow. From the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, I'm Cindy Schmirler saying goodnight for Elise Bergen. It's been one heck of a day here at Flushing Meadows.